අවුන්නන මිහාර පාගෝ මෙන්නනි අධිරියාසි තියාව මිහාර වෙනවා
දෙහස්තරගේ ඉතිහාසු කිතක් පසෙන් දෙවෙනකම කපුස්
ඉබලද මෙහාර ගඩානවා මම්මත් දෙන්නේ
හරි කෙස් කොල්ලා පෙරාලස්
අර දෙහින් දෙක සම්මා කරනවා දෙතෝ මිහාර දෙන් අවඩ ඒකේ මේ පේන්නේ වරක් මොඩෝ ඉගෙත දෙවනපුර අලුගන්නගේ ෆහු දෙවනපුරගේ ෆහුතින් නතර දුව මාලේ මග්මති ගලවන්නේ දොරි දුපාහි කාලෙකි ඒරුස් ඉවරේ නොවේ දෙවනපුර ෆහුපුරේ ෆහුපුරගේ එපහරගේ ෆහු අලුගන්න 57% ආකීක නොකුණා අලුට ඉන්නේ මිහාර ගානේ කස්තලස් පාන්නේ
දෙහස්තරගේ ඉතිහාසු දෙවනපුර කරාජිලාන්
නුකුර අලුගන්න මිහාර කපුලේ නුකුර අලුගන්නගේ ඉල්ලා නිනම දාංචි යුදාන කම පාරගේ ගියේ පොචිස් This
morning you were quite disappointed with the United States position on this issue because they actually agree with this change of the government. They didn't do anything or they didn't say anything against. And actually, some of the representatives say that they recognize this new president. Correct? So, can you specify a little better what is your position with the Americans?
I would like friendly countries to assess the situation. This is a very serious issue. Not only for the Maldives. This is the middle of the Indian Ocean. We need stability. If you want to have a secure Indian Ocean, you need stability in the Maldives as much as you need stability in Mauritius, Comoros, Seychelles, and so on. But we are the biggest economy in the Indian Ocean. And we have to be stable. So I would really like all countries to think very hard and make good assessments before they make their pronouncements. It's unfortunate that the American government has decided to work with the regime. But I think in the same sentence they went on to say that they will be able to recognize the government when a proper investigation is conducted to the transfer of power. Now, exactly in the same manner as the British government is saying.
Sorry, that's the same second unit.
The British government, as I understand, Foreign Secretary has said in the Parliament that it would be difficult for Britain to recognize the regime in the Maldives unless there is an independent inquiry into the transfer of power and what happened then. For the Indians, the Americans, and all the other countries, you will know that even as a president, I was very frank in saying what I felt. I think we are still living with this Cold War idea of politics, Cold War idea of international relations, Cold War idea of how countries change and what other countries have to do in the process of change. And I think that is very seriously leading a lot of entrenched establishments, such as the Indian and the American establishment, the State Department or the Indian Foreign Office, or many other such old establishments, to map out on a very wrong path. And that is taking a number of Middle Eastern democracies or Middle Eastern situations also to the wrong place. I hope that people will read the Maldives and understand it, and I hope that they will also see similarities with the Maldives and other Middle Eastern countries who are also going through similar changes.
Should the old order come to power and stay in the government, what could the consequences be to the ongoing arm wrestling for economic power in the Indian Ocean between India and China?
We were very clear on our stand, which is India is our neighbor and India is our long friend, and we understand and we agree with that friendship. The present government is not clear on where they stand. So if there is no clarity there, there's always room for maneuvering and playing one side against the other. In my mind, I've always said this: international relations is very simple. Find a friend, be good to the friend, and that's all.
about fears that the situation could be ripe for Islam's extremism to rear its head in the Maldives, especially in the light of the recent past politics and religion being mixed?
I heard yesterday Salaf saying that they are part of the government. This is Salaf saying that they are part of the government. So it's done now. It's happened.
Abdullah Gandhi Girbuji Hajar ko Furi Komodo High Court gal Madani Court Supreme Court gal masjid agenda pure India enamas mehar dukur aur faham ek masjid court ke kiyatan hindu fene ifan mehar kinata ekan sukor
I don't know this yakin out of Fenuka Jinai Court ke is Qazi Jinai Court ke Qazi ke gotuga inna ke one a Judicial Services Commission ke nimume ekan hame ke kiname ki comment bere ke kame awun me adios emase ke kuli eta thank you if there is one more or two more questions.
So Maldives is one of the most famous tourist island country. So now before that you said you don't want more harm, so that why you announced the resignation. So now if all the protests, all the things that keep happening, do you think it's going to harm the economy of Maldives? Are you going to give up again for this reason?
Democracy is sacred.
Are you going to invite the journalists to Adu?
I hope you do all come. Please do that. I hope you go even without me. I really would call upon
Be
you.
safe.
Well, it's not safe, but it's all right for journalists. It's all right for politicians and journalists. It's not safe.
But for Vidar, the Bihar will be very good economy. They have been some award, but they must stay there again. Suffering habit today, Rangal got to get happening in the night.
Bihar Kandita Mikuya down what a Bosia, a Mirado de Piduria, and higher cop, MVP member of the Edumbala, the first president, Genes Higher Pura. Now, to give you a marble in some India, India. The commandment to the Yadin Command Benamani, Iran Korea, India, MVP, and Higher Cook and the Betty Pen, out of the Iran Korea. Minimum Taudi, Alban de Canada for the Taudi, Mingani, if the Taudi Kumbar South of Penane, Bagavata, Diary Combacan, Bagavata, Asa Puri Combacan, Alban, Viapar in a Punima, Alban and Fagoni, American Alban and a Fenu Viapar very iconic. And always being Alban about the Martin for Gutka at the Varagina resort owner, or a Guinea with the Navy, at the Itu Hatar resort owner to Varabuda. मैं बगाव तक भारत को फाइ कोई एम बगाव तक भारत को भी हम बगाव हिंदी भी हम आज निकम का बागल बुरिया एम वे पता तहकी का कुम पर रगड़ के निके दान लेकिन पता तहकी तक मालिकता लोग हिंदा फेब्रुअरी स्ट्रीम ऑफ सिंगा फेब्रुअरी दिन तक तक वे सिंगा फेब्रुअरी एम एबे लोग में पता तहकी के हिंदी में अरोडे ने बिफारो हकी की काम में दान
Government order India we kong to me to me isa vidya sarkar ka tere na mes pai kanda ta kanuni mu peru dia government puraman to sarkar ka tere epes ka me kanuni mu peru mihara ta gaw maduma medwali wasa ho ke inga kya ke dia
ekut ke sawan ne ke kanuni mu peru sarkar ka me ko ke ka me mi sabat vidya ye ek sa ho ka nikam me sabat ye bai kadaligan muni mere duhe ka very kamata every kamata Jana Madam Mudalum Haratpuran. Then Jana Mada Mudalum, Ebepunga, Jana Mada Muda, Hakina Bima, Alwanami Ferun Taraki, Defy Bartaka, E Mada Jana Muda, E Ma Venus, E Madana Chika begging, Egg, Vadavik, because the beginning. but I'm saying this, they've removed all the clothes of number of our supporters. They've made them naked and they are handcuffed in underwear as I speak. Thank you.
Are you concerned about the episodes?
Local councils, where we have a majority, would work with the government.
The local council in the islands?
On the islands, yeah.
How many are with you? How many?
All the urban centres. Wherever there is a substantial population, for instance, over 1,000 people, we have the majority. We have the majority in 300. We have 383 seats of the local councils. Alonda ingi fuka ene mushalafa ibiska rasmi lote na mushalu ba ko enna aluganda nigene de mawon danno me ba ke ki mushalu ke mane be me ke.
So, looking back now, knowing what you know now, and having seen what you've seen since you resigned, do you regret it? Do you wish you'd stayed and fought?
No, I did not. I do not. I do not regret it at all. If there was a situation, the situation was that there were 200 policemen rebelling outside with a number of juvenile delinquents and gangs, altogether about 400 the maximum. You will be able to see these pictures. They are still available. How many people were out there on the Republican Square? The police out there was trying to get into the headquarters of the defense force, and while I was in there, and then the defense force, I later found out, was also in league, in collaboration with the mutinous police. The generals were in league with the mutinous police. So it was then therefore a very difficult situation for us to maintain or keep intact. If I were to do that, what would have happened is they would have shot at the people, they would have shot at me, and they would have stormed the National Defense Force headquarters. That would actually leave us without a National Defense Force for a long time to come.
Do you regret now removing the judge? Do you feel like that could have been handled in a different way and not precipitated this crisis?
No. If you look into the issue, you will see that since 2008, I've been trying to get the judge measures taken on the judge. I've been writing to the Judicial Services Commission. I've been writing to every single authority, every single institution in the country to look into the matter. And then there was simply no way of doing it, and then I believe what I've done is correct, and I will do it again.
Can you say something concrete what this judge did? 2 or 3 samples of this.
Good Lord, it's very difficult.
Yeah, I know, but...
the judge apparently, according to the information that I have, has done 57 different things.
57?
57 different things. The Judicial Services Commission has more than 13 cases against him. The Judicial Services Commission has reviewed more than 3 cases against him, and they found no reason for him to stay on the bench. But we still haven't taken steps and measures on him.
Biharga Defense Minister Nazimma Police Commissioner Riyazga Kiha Vareke me involvement Mikamuga Muli Miku Genamuga Vikamat Reply Kaputru Kureve.
Allora Steve Denuga Kuriga e Timbepron Tibevi si fa l'Italia.
E con Timbepron.
Ti chiama Gilantiu di Timbepron.
Allora mi dettevi Nazimma di Riyazga Vaka, then it'll compare.
Nazima Riyaza
Rishwan ke waha ke algo penna adu ive.
No, Rishwan ne. Algo ne
They compare
for us.
Will you be president again soon, do you think?
I think so.
How long?
Well, I can't see how the government can be sustained without a majority or even a single seat in the parliament. and without a single council seat. Now the new constitution, there's a fair amount of powers vested on the parliament. And if you cannot command a single seat in the parliament, it's going to be impossible. So any time that we want.
So, but from what we understand, according to your constitution, if you want to impeach this president, you need 2/3 in the Majlis. Do you have that number? Because what we understand is
now we have a simple majority. So therefore, he has to get a cabinet ratified through the parliament. Now, so I can't see him coming out with the cabinet to start with. Now, we will very soon see a situation. I believe that all the opposition cannot remain intact with Dr. Wahid. They don't have a common platform. They don't have common policies. But the only thing common was power. And so when power was finally grabbed by a group or a single person, then you will always have those others who are marginal.
But have you reached out to them? Are you in talks with them? Why do you say that they can't stay with Mr. Wahid?
No, they haven't yet joined in with Wahid. It's been 4 days now and he hasn't come out with a cabinet yet.
මේ මඩික් ෆොන් ෂා මඩික් ෆොන් ගේ ආයිලා එකශීකෙන් වාස් මේ security debate මේ වගේ.
දැන් අලුවන්ඩ ගයකු මේ security එක ගන්නව අලුවන්ඩ ගා තාඩා ගති ආමුගේ මිහෙන්නු පුදුහුගේ මි දැන් එම අලුවන්ඩ security අලුවන්ඩ දිවෙන කම අලුවන්ඩ දෙකදී වෙස් දිවි රාජ්‍යගේ රාජ්‍යතු කරා.
එමේ විදාල් වලි පුදුහුගේ පරාත security දිවෙන් මේ අම සරකාර මඩිෆාන එකශීකෙන් වාස් security for පුදුදේවා.
එතෙ මේ අලුවන්ඩ වරගිනේ ඉච්චි ෆෙනිච්චි තේරුණු ඉනුබා අලුවන්ඩ පෙරණි सरकारुगे सलामती वार्ता बड़ी बरक बोडक इहम बेबेटूं के मस्तहता उलिफते पैफारा व्यापारी के मस्तहता अने व्यापार सियासी कंकमा एमिमा ओनगा लोलका दवादुकु कुरंची के खामे पूरी विधान कमकम अलगोने यार उदेकी
all the reforms that you were claiming, judiciary reform, police reform, administration reform, so all these reforms, of course, were very radical in some way for this country. Right? So you should expect, in opposition, you should expect a reaction. You didn't expect so much?
No, I did. Let's see then where we go from here. I think this is necessary.
But you didn't have army with you, you didn't have police with you.
No, you see, there was no reason to purge them. In the past, all leaders of this country have either arrested or murdered the previous president.
Oh.
That has been the pattern of our history. I want to break that, and I'm glad we are doing that. And it's difficult, it's hard, but to have sustainable, entrenched democracy, I think this is the way to do it.
There's some information spread. It said you always show some very tough attitude to your cabinet member, even the ministers. So that makes you gradually lose the support. Have you heard this before? Do you think so?
Well, we've been winning every single by-election. We've been gaining a lot of support. All my ministers are still here. No one has left me. And there are, I think you should ask my ministers if I am so harsh on them. I don't think that it is possible in the present climate at all. They are my colleagues, they are my friends, and we came together. And we live together, we work together, we have fun together. And I really don't quite understand. I mean, who is the minister? We want to find out who this minister is. Even last weekend we were all together swimming, and almost every weekend we spend together. This is not because of anything, but simply because we've been so close and friends together. All throughout the movement, all throughout our democracy campaigning days, we've been together. And of course, yes, we shout at each other, and that still will go on.
You talked about a 24-hour deadline when you were saying about moving to outside places, about maybe places like Adu. What do do you mean by that? Are you saying
No,
that
what
you
I'm saying is I will go to Andu as soon as possible. Now, we cannot let the situation deteriorate like that. But the thing is, it's not only Andu. I have to go to everywhere. So it's very, very difficult, but I will go to Andu as soon as possible.
So the deadline is in terms of
No, it's
what?
not, if they can't stop arresting people and beating people up, I think we have to make a representation in Andu. We have to rally it. We have to raise the hopes of the people.
And escalate protests?
Once, the medicine here is out on the streets and strength. You see that in Mali. If you are able to gain strength from one another, and if you are together, then it's difficult to beat you on. So this is what you're seeing in Mali. So this is what they're trying to break apart in the islands. So if we need to rally them.
One of my colleagues spoke to a police official here in Mali, asked them about Adu, and they said that the council has not been arrested and they have not been deposed. The situation is calm in Adu. Are you saying that the police is deliberately, blatantly lying to the media and to the people of Maldives?
Of course. They cannot do anything else. They've toppled a legally, lawfully elected government, and they have to sustain this status quo now, and they will do anything to do it. They will do it.
Immediately after Wednesday's demonstration, you have been suddenly disappeared. Some media has shown that you have been taken by the army. What happened?
Well, I went into a safe house.
You were taken?
No. I wasn't taken into a safe house. I was with Mari and Musa, and they were so busy beating Musa up very badly. And they were also very, very busy beating up Mari. And in the hustle of it, and I feel so sad about this. Both Mari and Musa gave themselves up to be beaten so that I can run. And it's not easy, and Musa is in intensive care. Mari is very, very badly damaged.
Madifan Bihar Bagoala midterm election Kivekento Mitus Jay the Kamadu.
Midterm election no Bihar Bigoni India election. Together, Malon Reg the Neva Keki, Alabama Abadwis, Far Puramune Ai, Digutiris Arge, in party Munda, Kamaka Fanga, Safko Kanka Kuyak in the Ireka, Adi India of the Benu. The Mihar government, our daily spirit, writing by this India, the local government, India office, keep a balance is keep it.
If you get arrested, there will be riots on the street for sure.
I'm certain. I'm sure that that is what is going to happen if I'm arrested.
So, Nasheed, do you feel that India is letting down?
All countries have their interests and their policies and their visions and ideals. I'm sure India, with its ideals and policies, will find the most amicable set of policies to run with the democracy.
What the famous story of the allegation this morning we are talking about, these Islamic groups who are joining now this new government, and as they joined you before and so on, but the allegation is that you are creating a situation in Mali, in the capital, where young people, whatever, is in some way too much in contact with, I don't know, sex industry or alcohol and so on. Instead of this, alcohol and sex industry, like relegating the resorts. I mean, only in the resort you can have massage, whatever. But now it's possible in Mali. So this is very strong allegation against you by these groups. What do you answer about this?
Well, the issue of the spas, there are spas both in Mali and spas in resorts. We think that they are decent family establishments, and we feel that they should run it. It's good for our economy, it's a good trade, and we think that it should continue.
මේ මණිපුරේ ගෙන්දවනි ඉලෙක්ෂන් එක කොවාලම මේ බේරුගේ ෆරාතකු කීනතෝ එකම සපෝට් උනි මියා මණිපුර සපෝට් ලිබේඩ් කම ගබෝ කරවන්තෝ ඉන්ටර්නැෂනල් කමියුනිටි ඉතුරු ඉලෙක්ෂන්
දෙත්වන යුදානවා ඉන්ටර්නැෂනල් පන ක්වාමි දුනිය මියන්නනි අවගොන්නන අයකුගා මිකමුගා තායි පුරමුකා ඒක ආස්මතික අල්වන්න එන්නකොට නබතු ස්පලින්ජේ දිවේ බේරුනි කොම්පොටිටෝ දැන් ඒකතක අවගොන්නන කන්තත පුරමු ගෙන්දියාම අවුනිතු නගරවන් වයනද ක්වාමි දුනිය ඉබේනි අපදුස් රගල කන්ත පුරා බයකාරිකීගා කාංක පුරියමේ ගෙන්දා බයකාරිකීගා දැන් අවඩ මිහාර මෙන්නම විදනි වයනද ක්වාමි දුනිය පර රගල කපුත්‍රේ අවගොන්නන කන්තත පුරමු ගෙන්දිය කොයිපස් අදි අවගොන්නන මිදක්කම ගෙන්දා වාංකරස්.
So, can I start with a question? You say in Adu, people are being dragged out of their houses and beaten up and sprayed. Given that that's the case, given the situation as you see it sounds so urgent in Adu, how long can you wait for the UN, the Indians, any other international organisations and countries to broker some kind of deal? I mean, can you
not more than
wait?
24 hours.
And what happens after that, sir?
I'll go there.
What happens after 24 hours, sir?
I'll go there.
Where?
I'll do.
Oh. Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Are you optimistic that there will be some kind of intervention or some kind of...
Well, I'm hoping so. I'm really hoping that there is some kind of intervention. This is really quite helpless. They are helpless. Everyone is concentrating on Mali. Everyone is here. And all of our people on the islands are being beaten up. Not only Adu. As we speak in Milandu, in Formudam, in Tinadu. All these islands, people have been dragged. You must understand that this is an island nation. And what happens in Mali has so much resonance on the islands.
So you said if there was to be an amicable solution, one of the necessities was that there has to be a conversation with us and other stakeholders. Has there been any process in talks with the government since your stand is so unnegotiable?
No, we don't
they have to resign.
With our other stakeholders, meaning we can't talk to this government. There is no government as such. It's not possible to do that.
So what happens now? You want the international community and you to decide what happens next?
The people of the Maldives to decide what happens next.
Some of the citizens have criticized you for being fairly soft on the former order when you first came to power in 2008. What can the members or individuals behind the current so-called government coup expect if your government is reinstated?
Well, you're very correct that we did not purge the police. We did not purge the military. We wanted to run a process, and we still want to run that process. We want to bring stability through a sustainable process that will bring us greater institutions and greater capacity in these institutions as the police and the military. But of course, what we now have seen is that it is really quite beyond repair what is in the police and in the military.
මේ එම්බස් කොම කුමියාතන මේ මණිපන්ති ගෝවාලබ ඉලෙක්ෂන් මේ තායි ප්‍රොග්‍රස් කරස් කොම
තායි නුකුරා ගාම කාලවල කදිමයි
මේ මාමෝගා ඒ විදානක කපුරන්තෝ එන්ඩීපී සුදමරි එදීතා කීනතෝ එන්ඩීපී ස්ට්‍රැටජි තිරාපණ කපුරපත සුදමරි එදීතක මේ විදානක මේ මාහවුල මේ
ෆුලු නයිස් කලා නුගන්න ඥා එන්ඩීපී ගේ පූරි හා රෙඩි බිසුදමේ පාට ජම්හූරි मैदान කමල්වන්නේ උදාන අවුරුම මාලි වර්ෂාහින් කාලම් බේනු වෙදාන අදි ඒ මා ෆුදුහොන් කම්බඩුවා කමෙක්කම බණීවියා කොමේ අවුරුම ෆුදුසොත් ඉස්කුරිමති නුංගාෆා එනවස් අවුරුමගේ මුරිහා හිකාලම කුරියද්දාන මුරිහා එබුමේ කුරියද්දාන.
There is an economical background of this crisis. Some people say there are many big interests in tourism industry and you have island resorts, island to sell, to rent. So, I mean, there is business people.
Yes, the coup was very largely, as I understand, financed by resort owners. Not just one person, but a number of people.
Oh. Why? Why did they finance the coup?
I suppose they like the old order of corruption.
I think it's Marifan, a year over by Banzer, we found any court, a warrant acquest. Me, Alumen of India, Midani, Sarkar, Commissar, Jehidum and Guleka, got come Marifan, higher Kurma. Me, Kina Began, Commissarkar, Jehidum and Guleka, Marifan, Gabu, and Marifan, higher Kurma, and Misarka, Pata Jehi.
Maskan, Amra, Rafro, the Viraj, Rayatum, Algonmena, Dividipa, Doipa, Gadara, Tiram, the Sababu, Awan with the Kenny, Pudumuna, the Hem by a compass. Nuhama gotuga alwan menna gule gotu kame kurun dachani.
ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಮಸ್ಲಿಂ ಸಿಯಾಸಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ का बे बिल निकुरिया लोगों से नेता कैबिनेट करते हैं हर बड़े सियासी पार्टी का बे बिल पूरी हम मुमकी कानून का मुमकी कि हम भी
परम निदरवल का परम मुकम सियासी पार्टी का बे राहुल कानून है तो ए बिहार मिसाल का मची फ्लावर पूरे भी हैं और में दिखाओगे खुद होना स्थान है और में जो पार्टी एक एक ऑफिशियल ना नुहा बड़े थी के में बने बिकंत में मोहम्मद इरुगा सियासी पार्टी तक बे अगर पूरी हम कानून है लेकर में बराबर काम है अगर देखे तो का ए बराबर अवसर प्रभाव
Until now, do you still believe you will win the next election?
Certainly.
And if you are not, do you think the main policy of Maldives will have a big change from right now?
But the opposition has a set of very different policies from us. They want bigger government. They want government to control industry. They want the government to run all the corporations. But we have a more center-right policy and a more market-oriented policy in economics. We wanted to have direct taxes instead of indirect taxes, so we introduced a goods and services tax, income tax, and corporate profit tax. We wanted to run a social protection program, so we introduced healthcare for all. But the previous government has a system where the president, in his kindness, gave people money for them to go abroad for medicine. But now we have a system where everyone is covered by a health insurance scheme. We have a housing program for everyone. We have a program for interconnectivity of the islands through a better transport system. We have a program to eradicate drugs. And we want to bring inflation down. So there are distinct policies and issues that we are very different from them. I mean them as they were before 2008. After 2008, they've never pronounced their policies or they've never said what they were going to do at all.
Now we just mentioned that you are not ready to negotiate with the same time. The says that you two must, the two sides must negotiate and come to a conclusion and resolve this problem. How are you going to handle this situation? And are you?
So the question is, how is the UN going to handle the situation? I can't really tell you, but I know exactly how I am going to handle the situation, which is what the people of this country want.
So is it the election that you will be bridging up?
It is the election that we will be pushing for.
Will you be going along with the election?
I will be. Our party will be going along.
So did you have any indication before the new government was sworn in that, you know, there was differences between you and Mr. Wahid? Was this a build-up or was it as surprising to you as many people?
It was a build-up. It wasn't necessarily such a surprise. I've been seeing it happening. But of course the final hours was a surprise.
How did you see it happening? What gave you indication that things were not right between you and your vice president?
The vice president, I've always been getting reports that the vice president continuously meets other opposition members at his home. And recently the Vice President started coming out with statements, making it very clear. So during the last month it was very obvious.
Are you referring to, when you say election, it is the presidential election or
presidential election?
Sorry, what was the difference? What was the Vice President complaining about and what was the second? What were the differences between them?
The Vice President now claims that the main difference was the arrest of the judge. But if you look at the President's office minutes, you will find that in 2 cabinet meetings, the Vice President did actually agree to take the judge out. Take the judge, remove the judge from the bench.
Right.
And do you know the allegations against you And also, what I would say about this allegation that there were a bottle of alcohol in your residence and 30, and was it the same judge who you suspended, made a warrant against you?
Yes, it was the same judge. It was the same judge who I suspended that now has brought out an arrest warrant on me.
And what are the charges?
I don't know. Yes,
Rais Vidal Jami have American Kabul Purakama, Iran Sarkarakama, Ekamana Sarkar control Purakam Setaka, the MDP, Investaka, Sarkara, Mashara, Puram Kitaman Fund.
Well, he was asking if we will.
Hello, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that you are aware of what is happening in the Maldives now. I do not need to brief any further, but I will answer your questions and you may start now.
What did Indians tell you?
The Indian government is suggesting that we find a peaceful path to an amicable settlement. And we are all trying to work an amicable settlement.
Do you stand in a position that elections have to be held, or are you backing away from that?
Elections have to be held.
guys, Ashirwadaka Midanavi, Namuka Verikan, Rice Bandu, Rice Hava, Gitara, and Dendi, a context to the right, nothing without it.
The Karnasasiga Magutu Mati, Mihar Miraji again, Verikan Ingen, Hamek and Kuchiki, Rai to the Machili, the rice, Havada Vedanoa, Adi Alonda, Ikipo Gutuka, Karnasasi, Satek Sabis Ramata, Shabiga, Alonda, Maudumati, Falunding for Gutuka, Bivani Higota, Ekankuri, Geta Mijini. Pastoral slope with Rega, Intiabaka, right to Mediske, Rice, Kevin with a shoe, counting Gamandaru again.
Sorry, Nelson, London Daily Telegraph. Can you tell us what your strategy is to actually get these elections to be held? How can you make it happen?
Well,
we're in a weak position.
Yeah, I believe that what the people of this country wants is very clear from what we are seeing out on the streets. Every time we want to rally, we have huge numbers. We can bring the government under pressure from demonstrations out on the streets. But I believe that this might not necessarily be the best course of action to find any solution through just simply public demonstrations. Therefore, we would like other stakeholders to find amicable solutions and to make sure that there are conversations with us and other stakeholders. In the absence of that, we would have to go on the streets and we would have to demonstrate until we find the country back on track. We cannot join this government. We believe that this government is illegal. We believe that the government came into formation through a coup. Yes.
Are you depending on international community to find a solution for come to compromise?
No, we are not.
Is the election, fresh elections your bottom line?
No, fresh elections is our bottom line, and we are not relying upon the international community to do this. We are relying upon the people of the Maldives to do this. Baloneli ki beplum beer mustakai beer downto ge habarto ko mikan safo mandani muli beer dunie bivani bihar algun menai ko
aditya delegation ne badda koravta manifan
mendel mo be
මේ අලුත් මෙලෙම මාර්ග පතිරෙන්නේ USA ගේ ගවර්න්මන්ට් මේ විහාරක සරකාර බෙකප් දෙයකම විකාර අපරාධ කමිටිය අපතන තමයි පඩේ පඩේ ඉස්වා කාඩ ප්‍රොබෙට් මේ ඒකට බෙකප් දෙයම මනි ෆන්ඩ් කීන තෝ එක සිකතොර පායි
already was covered before the America Sarkar Pune, Nihan Sarkar, King and Masaki Kuranatama, Namavis Hama, Nevaga, Ingradana Hama, Nevaga, America Sarkar Pune, the Ekang Emihuna Kuriveni, Verika Badalum, Kantata, Frian and Tamki Kokene, Tiberunisama, a official AQVAT, Vasam Cuba Fauna.
I'm saying that you said your people is going to rally until this government is not leaving the office. So, but what about if they leave the office, whatever, you go back, the rallies from the other side? Are you not worried of this kind of thing? What was the reason why you also resigned?
Yeah, this is exactly a very serious question. Why did I resign? Why did I resign? You have seen the support that I have on the streets. Is there any legitimate reason why I should resign? Unless I was forced to. I do not think that the opposition has a resonance with the people. They demonstrated for 20 days and the biggest number of people that they were able to muster was only about 300-400. They only broke the doors of the National Security Headquarters through revolt of police and mutinous soldiers.
Does the UN support your call for fresh elections?
I have not met the UN delegation yet. I believe that anyone who would go according to our constitution or according to any realistic program, they would support our position. That we want Dr. Wahid out of office. We want the Speaker of the House in charge. We want the Speaker of the House to run the country for 2 months and during those 2 months to have elections.
What is the basis for you to say that this government is illegal? Dr. Wahid's takeover as president is illegal. One second is, do you think that he is in full control, like with the legal government?
I'll answer your first question first. First, the government came into effect as a result of a coup. It was not a legal transfer of power. Secondly, a coalition of the opposition parties cannot deliver the election manifesto pledges and the policies of the NDP. Remember, this government was formed by the votes people have given to our policies and our manifestos. And even when the president is no longer there, the vice president is supposed to succeed, not nothing new. The vice president is supposed to carry forward the policies of the president, of the mandate that the government has received. The vice president is not supposed to find a new cabinet. The vice president is not supposed to find new policies. The vice president is just simply only supposed to continue with the existing policies and existing government. Now, A, he came into power illegally. B, he is continuing to be in power illegally. Now, if you look at our constitution, the powers that the parliament has are very, very substantial. The local government authorities have local governance authority. There is not a single seat that Wahid has in the parliament. There is not a single council seat out of 1,091 council seats. There is not a single seat that Wahid commands. So how can Wahid at all command any support or therefore have any authority and control? He would always have to rely upon his masters.
One is Gayoom.
I think the old order. I would define.
One is Yazim. One is
Yamin and Gayoom. I would define it as the old order.
In names.
I would not like to name names until we have a proper investigation into it. I can name Yamin and Qasim because I have seen them at it. But we have to have a proper investigation before we name Kajur. But I'm very sure that it is the old order.
Manpan vidalo je madhiyo ke rais ile maso ve kamprawa intihab kata ni kama kuli emis bahak take da ni ke pala ko madhiyo ke rais alu ni kama kuli emis bahak take dekhe honge bade
no
manpan vidalo
manpan vidalo je madhiyo ke rais control karne bade गाँव की हालत यहाँ हालत मेरे मस्जिद की वजह से भी चलती है गाँव की हालत इधर जब बैठी रहती है मस्जिद में किस भाला इसलिए हम कहते हैं नहीं देखिए हम मस्जिद जगह और आधा करोड़ हम काबू करें
Right, the Majlis Brahma Bodu comment on the Rajya gathered already. And then right to the Majlis working everything, people go to Kamakar Puna and Haliki Kovato, Alman of this American Party. Majlis Gurumunima, Nota Majlis ke member na Ekuga, Hingem Kantati Kovato, Albanenge parliamentary group is Visnam Dende, Majlis Badaluma Kadevene. Albanenge parliamentarian ekaman hamede ahida kamahena sawanna mihar dekima midani rajye ga miha ani america bodu ko dairuga mikiye rangal kame nune ituru kama kame go dia disco. I would like to point out a very serious incidents that are happening as we speak now in Andu. The police and the military are ransacking the city. They are dragging people out from their homes. They are having PPM members outside the homes. They are asking them if the members dragged out from the homes are either MDP or PPM. If they are from the other party, from our party, these people are sprayed, beaten, sprayed with pepper, beaten up and then arrested. The same thing is happening in Nilandu. The same thing is happening in Formula. The situation in Tinadu is far worse. The military has, I understand, gone there with arms and ammunition. We are losing a country as we speak.
New Delhi television. We do believe that in the run-up to when you resigned, senior officials, including possibly our national security advisor, asked for military intervention from India. What was India's response then, and subsequently in talks since? Has military intervention ever been brought up?
No, it has never been brought up, and we've never asked India for a military intervention, but we've asked India to advise for restraint on the mutinous soldiers and the rebelling police.
In the run-up to the